trusted parenting advisor, faithful guide and servant on the healing journey. What's my name? Big Papa Bryan+Post. Have you ever been to the mall, been walking around or sitting around people watching, or maybe you're in the airport, or maybe you're in the grocery store, and all of a sudden, out of the corner of your eye and out of your right ear, you heard a mom or a dad say, 1, 2, don't make me say 3. That's right. 1, 2, 3 magic. In this episode tonight, we're going to talk about stop doing 1, 2, 3 magic because tricks are for kids, silly rabbit. That is our topic for this evening, and I want to welcome you all and thank you for joining me. So you know what's going to happen. As soon as you hear that number countdown, right? It always starts. Usually the kid is misbehaving and they're running around. And I used to see it a lot in airports because I used to spend a lot of time in airports. They're running around and they're looking back at their parent and then they come back and then they get into something else and they move and they get into something else. And before you know it, you hear 1, 2, don't make me count to 3, because if the parent gets to 3, something magical is supposed to happen. The child is supposed to conform into behavior, the appropriate behavior, and maybe they're supposed to hug or kiss or have a warm embrace. I don't know what. Something magical is supposed to happen when the parent gets to 3. So I'm not sure why they always say, don't make me get to 3. I'm not sure why they say 2.5. 3. I'm going to say 3. I'm not sure what is actually supposed to happen. But I assume from the title 1, 2, 3 magic, what's supposed to happen is a bunny supposed to pop out of the hat. And there's supposed to be confetti fall down everywhere. And a marching band with clowns and flag girls and prom queens throwing candy everywhere. I'm pretty sure that's what's supposed to happen right on the end of the 3. That's when the magic starts. But unfortunately, I think we missed something in there. And I'm not sure if, I don't even know when it started or who created it or who wrote the book originally. But somewhere in there, I think what was taught to us as parents is that when we get to 3, something is supposed to happen that the child isn't supposed to like. So if we actually get to 3, if the behavior hasn't changed by the time we get to 3, it's actually not supposed to be a marching band at all, or confetti, or candy being thrown, or boys and girls cheering. I think it's supposed to be like one of those horror stories where the evil clowns come out and they're chasing the kid and the kid starts screaming and crying and it gets dark and it's thundering and raining and storming and people are screaming and crying. I think that's what's kind of intended. But you understand that when you say 1 and you say 2 and you say 3, those are like countdowns to a consequence. And I know we talked a lot about consequences last night, but that's essentially what's supposed to happen. At the end of 3, there's supposed to be this experience that occurs. Hey, good morning, Angela in Australia. Hope you guys are doing well. And I'm glad you find me humorous. And hello, Heidi from New Zealand. Glad you're joining us. And hello, Laura. And hello, Mom. Mom joining me right from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Traveled a long ways to get here, didn't you, Mother? Happy to have you, though. You know that something unfortunate is supposed to happen. And the child, I guess through repetition, knows that something is supposed to happen. And the problem is 1, 2, 3 magic typically starts with young children. So let's just break it down for a moment. I'm going to go, many of you may have watched last night's Daily Dose. If you didn't, you probably should go back and watch it, where I talk about a consequence is a reaction to an action. So children who are, and I also talk about children who are stressed out, act out. Regress children, stressed children, or regress children. So there's just this whole cycle and it all connects all the time. It's like this, the same cycle goes on. The child becomes stressed, they regress, they misbehave, the parent becomes stressed, parent regresses, parent then threatens the child, child gets more stressed, behavior increases, decreases, and then relationship goes away. And it's this reoccurring cycle. And so when a child is behaving in a manner that the parent doesn't like, number one premise, this is so easy. It's so simple. It's not easy. Number one premise, the child is stressed. Number one premise, if a child is behaving in a way that the parent does not like, the child is stressed. Because they've gone outside of their window of tolerance, because children want to do the right thing. And see, and that's a little different than our cultural conditioning that says children are actually willfully disobedient. That's not true. That's all based in fear and control. Children want to do the right thing, and sometimes the younger the child, the less ability they have to regulate themselves anyway. So if we're talking 2- and 3-year-olds, they don't even have any ability to sufficiently regulate themselves. So when you start pulling the 1, 2, 3 thing on them, it actually excites them. It literally excites their brain. That's why you don't chase your 2- and your 3-year-old. And most people think that if your toddler starts to get away from you and get loose, that you're supposed to run after them. But guess what happens when you run after them? It's like peekaboo. They go, woo! And they take off running because they think you're chasing them, because their amygdala gets excited, and then something probably unfortunate may be at risk of happening, which is why you run after them anyway, because you get scared. When in fact, you should stop. You should turn around. You should then turn back towards them, call their name, and then turn around, totally remove the threat. Right? This requires some of your own internal regulation, though. So you totally remove the threat. Then you smile and you say, come on back this way. And you start walking in the opposite direction. You turn and you wave them over this way. And you wait, because you've got to be alert. You can't be lacking in common sense. So you've got to be alert. And then they will turn and start to walk back towards you. Or you could simply, kneel down and start playing with something on the grass. You remove the threat. You are the threat when the child is threatening to move away. So, not to digress too far away, I want to bring that back to 1, 2, 3 magic. If you're using 1, 2, 3 magic with a child who's 3 years or younger, you're completely going to be frustrated, because they can't even begin to regulate themselves, and they're going to be more prone towards being excited and escalated than anything else. And when you're doing 1, 2, 3 magic, what you're asking the child to do is to control themselves. Well, they've already demonstrated that they can't control themselves. That's why they're behaving the way they're behaving. What they're actually demonstrating to you is that they need you to provide some kind of containment, some kind of emotional containment, some kind of physical containment, some kind of regulatory expression that contains them and pulls them back into their window of tolerance. You're right, Adele, it's not magic at all. And so what it does is it sets us as parents up. We get set up because we believe that if we do it, 1, 2, 3, something magical is supposed to happen. But actually, the only magic is that you're creating more stress, because typically whatever you're gonna do on the tail end, when the magic is supposed to happen, when the bunny's supposed to pop out of the hat, is probably not going to be something the child's going to enjoy. So what you could do, because the child's in an escalated state anyway, and this is important, they're probably not going to be happy with anything you do anyway, because they are outside of their window of tolerance. They're stressed. They're having the time of their lives. They're out. They're moving around. They're probably not going to be happy with you. So just get up and go get them. Just get up and go pick them up. Just get up and go, hey, we're gonna head on back over here. Or just look at them. Have you ever had your child in a state of dysregulation, and they turn and look at you and they have that maniacal little smile on their face, that stress smile? You know that smile, don't you? It's that maniacal little, I'm completely disconnected, completely disassociated, and I'm completely wired, and the world is my oyster, and no one matters. You know that smile? Have you ever just looked at them when they give you that smile and went, and what happens? Mirror neurons kick in. All of a sudden you see the maniacal smile, go. They immediately shift because of your energy. You can create regulation for your child without saying a word. But you've got to be able to tune in to yourself first and calm yourself down. Because when you see that maniacal little smile, it's usually an invitation for you to get amped up. Don't get amped up. Keep yourself centered. Keep yourself completely present. Right there in that moment. You don't need to smile. There's nothing funny. They're probably not doing anything funny. You might be kind of stressed. But instead of reaching out and tapping them on the butt, you're going to just reach out with your presence. Hey, son, why don't you come on over here and have a seat? Hey, come here for a minute. Come here for a minute. And maybe they'll give you that, like they're going to, hop away. Observe, make sure there's no risk, right? If that's what you need to do to not move, make sure there's no imminent risk. If you're in the front yard and you're on a block and there are no cars coming, you've got, and you know how fast you can run if need be. And if your child gets so far away from you before you, outside of your ability to run and grab them, then that is a telltale sign that you need to practice more containment and prevention from the very beginning. They probably don't even need to be walking without holding your hand, walking out the front door if they're going to take off, because that tells you just how sensitive and how easily dysregulated they become. So I really want you to think about that. Right? So once you establish that there's that safety, because a lot of times that's what we have to do, just establish that there's that perimeter safety. And then you don't have to move. And you say, come here. Hey, come here. Come here for a minute. They give you that little, like they're going to bounce off. Don't move. Just keep breathing. See this face? This is a face of limits. This is a face of emotional regulation. It's a face of presence. It's a face of connection. It's a serious face. And it's a face that says, I got you. I got you. Come here. And I've done this before with older children and younger children. Hold the face. Because there is nothing funny. You don't have to be angry. You don't have to scowl, because there's no reason to be angry. What you have to focus on is creating regulation and containing your child. So we literally can throw out 1, 2, 3 magic, because there is no magic, just by creating an internal state of regulation. You don't always have to be happy as a parent, because there are times when you're just not. There are times when your child is doing something that you just do not like. Don't put on a, because then you're putting on the same disconnected, inauthentic look on your face that they've got on theirs. Don't put on that look. Put on a serious look. Don't smile. You don't have to raise your voice. Sometimes you don't have to say anything. Just look at them. And we all know. We've all been there before. You've all had the parent who looks at you when you're doing something that you're not supposed to, and they go, and you go, oh shit. There's just this internal, we have this like internal, oh shit thing that goes off. It's just like oh yeah, I'm talking and I'm showing out. That's what my parents used to always call it, showing out. And all of a sudden we see them, they don't say anything, they look at us, eyebrow raises, and a little oh shit mechanism goes off inside of us. That's what you want to turn on for your child. Because that little oh shit mechanism pulls them right back into regulation. Pulls them right back into their window of tolerance. That's what you're going for. 1, 2, 3 magic is saying that your child has the ability to regulate themselves, and they do not. If they are acting out, then they are already showing you that they don't have the ability to regulate themselves. An acting out child is a stressed out child. So a child needs you to be able to regulate them. This becomes very important. Angela says, oh dear, my husband has it so wrong. If our foster little ones throw a wobbly in the shops, he counts to 2, then joins them on the floor. The kids are so embarrassed they get up and walk away. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Hey, Mama Wilma. That is hilarious, Angela. Well, I let him do it. More power to him. I think that's just fantastic. It's taking a situation where there is no threat and making even more light of it. So that's very important. So you should get that on video. I would love to see that, and I'd love to see their reaction. So just keep that in mind. Adele says, all behavior is a form of communication. What are they trying to communicate? Yes, indeed. Listen to the behavior, respond to the child. So 1, 2, 3 magic, let's get rid of it. Let's not put so much responsibility on our children, and let's not put responsibility on their children when they are not ready. Let's take responsibility. Let's listen to the behavior. Let's respond to the child, and let's create regulation. Let's maintain and secure relationship, and let's get to a place to where we can say to our child, honey, what's going on? Because that's what's on the other end of that look, right? When I say, come here, what's going on? What's wrong? I know you're ready to go. We're going to be going here pretty soon. Take some deep breaths. Do you need to sit down here with me? Are you sure? Give me some cheek. All right, give me a hug. Okay, we're good. We're good. Done. That's magic. That's magic. May not happen in 1, 2, 3, but that happened in at least 1 to 10, right? So there you have it. Stop doing 1, 2, 3 magic. Start taking responsibility. Start creating regulation. Start seeing stress. Start seeing fear. And choose love. Because in any given situation, we all have 2 choices. We can continue to react from our same imprints and experiences of fear and stress and overwhelm. Or we can stop. We can take 3 to 10 deep breaths. And we can choose love. God bless each and every one of you. I want to give you some magic tonight, and that magic is that when you lay your heads down tonight, you close your eyes, you take some deep breaths, you inhale and you exhale. I'm going to pixie dust these prayers all over you right now, that the stress will dissipate from your bodies, and you'll wake up in the morning revised and refreshed, feeling confident and secure and loved, and knowing that you are the perfect parent for your child. You are the perfect parent for your child. You are the magic. God bless you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.